Everybody, welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I am Sean Woodland, being joined by Lauren Khalil. Lauren, what's the temperature there in the greater upstate New York area?
You ready
look
for
like
this?
You're bundled up. I'm not ready for this.
It is 16 degrees Fahrenheit. I got my heated blanket on. I really wanted to go snowboarding today, but I said, hell no, I am not leaving my house today.
And featuring, as always, Tommy Marquez. Tommy, we're on the other side of the world, or, well, country. We were enjoying 66-degree weather today, and allergy season has started early.
A balmy 66 and allergies as a result of it being sunny the last few days after a little bit of rain. So I apologize everyone ahead of time if I sound a little froggy. And if you occasionally hear me sniffle, I have gotten hit directly in the face with allergies. That's an early no rep for allergies.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think
feel bad.
I'm feeling it today.
Yeah, because I played golf with our old boss yesterday, Sean.
You did?
Cool Breeze
Novello.
Novello.
Joseph Liberace Novello.
Shout out Joe Novello. I know he listens to the show.
Great guy.
We hit the links. We had been talking about it for a little while, so went out and did some landscaping.
That's awesome. Joe Novello, for people who don't know, is probably one of the biggest unsung heroes in the early days of CrossFit broadcasting. Mm-hmm. He was one of the two people who was really super responsible for kind of putting that thing together and turning into something that we were able to put on ESPN and CBS. So shout out to Joe Novello. Love that guy.
Yep.
Love that guy. Man, before we get started, I have to acknowledge something. The fact that tomorrow night, I'm glad we're recording on Wednesday, because tomorrow night is the Four Nations tournament final.
Oh, the final. Oh.
Canada, USA Part 2.
God.
I don't know if I PR'd the Four Nations Cup last week because it's an unbelievable format. I was watching in my hotel room at Legoland this past weekend, the first round USA Canada. And this is now supposed to be like an international quote unquote friendly. There's really not, this is not a huge prestigious tournament. There were 3 fights in 9 seconds. The first 9 seconds. I have never seen that in a game, and I'm not a big fight guy with hockey. I like good, hard-nosed, tough hockey, fights, whatever. But, oh my God, it was intense. That was a great game, man. I can't wait for the final tomorrow night. So
it was you, me, and Chase were texting on it. You were like, we're basically
like, you guys watching this?
Yeah, I had been watching. I think Chase tuned in right afterwards. But 2 of those 3 fights were with Kachuk boys. Can you imagine Keith Kachuk tuning in to watch his 2 sons play, and they're both just throwing hands at their Canadian opponents?
Well,
in the
Keith
first
Kachuk too. I'm pretty sure this is correct. I think he was part of the '96 World Cup team, which I think, my home expert hockey opinion, is that was probably the greatest American team ever put together. That '96 team that beat Canada in the best of 3 finals. Anyway, I digress. So that's why I'm glad we're recording tonight on Wednesday.
Thank God for that.
Got a lot to talk about tonight. Going to go over the latest Open numbers. Got a couple more big name athletes who have decided to sit out the CrossFit Games season. Big name affiliate has decided to drop its affiliation. That made headlines today. And then got a little bit to talk about there's some talk going on right now, whispers and things about the sale of CrossFit. So I know all 3 of us have kind of been digging into that, trying to gather some information. So we'll tell you what we know. And I know other outlets out there are talking about it as well. So we wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But before we do that, we want to thank our sponsor for today. And that is Thirdzy and their Rest and Recovery Collagen. I talked about this last week, but if you are a master, approaching master's age, let's be honest, you need something to help you recover when you're asleep. You just need a little extra something. Just sleep itself ain't going to do it. Now, Thirdzy is one of those things that's definitely going to help you not only rest, but also recover when you are sleeping. And if you don't believe me, believe Jason Grubb. I mean, how many times does that guy sit on top of the podium? He's a master's athlete, and he swears by Thirdzy. And we've had a lot of people approach us and say, hey, man, I tried that Thirdzy. That's some good stuff, because it helps you get to sleep faster, stay asleep longer, and it helps enhance your recovery during that time. You're going to wake up feeling well rested, ready to go, and it calms your mind and body. So, you're getting the most out of that sleep time. And it also contains 10 grams of collagen. So you get those building blocks that you need to rebuild your body overnight, strengthen your tendons and the ligaments to help prevent derailing injuries. It's melatonin free.
It tastes good.
Yeah,
it tastes great.
Oh, God, I love it. Melatonin does not improve your sleep quality. It can leave you groggy. So you're out. Cut off. No melatonin.
Cut off. No more whack Arnolds.
No. Thirdzy is a full stack recovery solution containing natural ingredients that help relax your mind and body for sleep. And of course, that 10 grams of collagen to help rebuild your body overnight. So be like Jason Grubb and be a champion.
Or like us. We're not champions.
We're not. No.
We're life champions.
I don't know about that. But check out Thirdzy. Go to thirdzy.com/
champion of my own life.
That's right. Thirdzy.
Exactly.
Thirdzy.com, THIRDZY.com /TEF. No code to enter. You're automatically going to save 20% on your order. Use that code as many times as you want. Thirdzy.com /TEF. You'll save 20% on their rest and recovery collagen. Okay, let's do let's kick things off with our annual or weekly, it's not annual, weekly, that was stupid, weekly check of open registration.
Dun, 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 dun.
Here we go. So on screen now, our good friend Mike Halpin, who's been doing great work on tracking the open registration numbers. So this is 13 days out. That's how this is the comparison we're using, because that I think is the most relevant one. Mm-hmm. And we're starting to enter that period where you traditionally see a spike, like the last week before the Open is where you start to see registration spike. Right now, 13 days out compared to last year, 13 days out, registration is down 40%, 40.5%, about 71,000 fewer than last year. Last year, we had 175,000 at this time. This year, we have just over 100,000, 104,091, according to Mike Halpin. And if you sort of track this graph on your screen, 200,000 looks like it's within reach. And I think that would be best case scenario right now. Somewhere over 200,000.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand. 1 week one week to go by the time people are listening to this, because the first open announcement will be next Thursday, CrossFit Mayhem, 12 p.m. Pacific time. So
yeah, that's, I don't know, like 200,000. That'd be a tough pill to swallow, to not go. Like I imagine from CrossFit's standpoint, regardless of where you think where your allegiances lie and where you feel like the temperature of the sport and community is, not hitting 200,000 a year after 3 consecutive years of growth would be, it's hard to spin that.
Yeah. I mean,
I think,
I don't think to just repeat myself, I don't think anybody is shocked by a decrease. And, if they could get to a 30% drop, if you told them that ahead of time, you're going to be down 30%, I think they'd take it, given everything that went on. Now, it looks like it might be more than that. But again, that spike is coming. They've just announced the final open announcement, location and participants. So we know where all 3 are and who's going to be in each one. And now it's, people are going to start, this is always the way it happens. It happens this way every single year. You have that initial spike, it levels off, and then final week when they're going to make a big push and people start thinking, oh yeah, I got to sign up, because you wait till, I've done that every single time I've signed up. I'm always like, oh God, get in under the gun. You get that spike. And if you track that graph, we're looking like a little over 200,000 right now.
At this point, what do you think would convince people, if they are on the fence, to sign up? Man,
that's a really good question.
It'd probably have to be something in line with like the people around them convincing.
I was just going to say local peer pressure. Yeah, peer pressure from the people in your affiliate. Like, come on, man, you're not doing the Open. What are you talking about? Get on. We're going to throw down every Friday night. You should be part of it. All right, $20, I'm in. I think that kind of effort at the affiliate level is probably what is going to make the most difference right now, because the messaging is out there. You see it all over social media. They've done a really good job of getting the word out, or at least trying to.
I don't know. If you saw Dave's last week in review, he surmised that it was the affiliates not getting the word out. That's
Well,
some weird copium.
that is interesting. Okay. I mean, maybe they're not because of everything that's been going on. And, I know I got an email from my affiliate about, hey, this is what's going on. Make sure you register early so I can only speak for NC Fit. I know they're trying.
Yeah.
Ours did too. Ours sent out a schedule of the Open and what we'll be doing and like how the class structures will be organized, the Saturday like get-togethers for everyone, when the people will be available to do the workouts. So yeah, I don't know if that jives with reality, because as far as everyone I've talked to on the affiliate side has sent out the same level of communication, Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. But look, I think at this point, like you said, Tommy, and I agree with you, it's going to be that, local peer pressure that's going to do it. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of affiliates, so I guess we'll go here next because you brought that up. This was let me find this. This was in Box Life magazine.
I also saw it in Men's Health too, I think.
Was it really? Okay.
I want to say it was in Men's Health.
So this is
as well.
Yeah. I'm scrolling up here so I can get the top of the article. But this is where I saw it. This is the first place I saw it. So Ben Bergeron and CrossFit New England have de-affiliated from CrossFit. And, nothing at this 5 minutes shocks me. But this, I got to admit, was surprising.
Yeah.
CrossFit New England has been an affiliate for nearly 20 years. They have, one of those like OG affiliates. And when you start talking about affiliates that have been around forever and have sent multiple people to games. And Ben, of course, was the coach behind the rise of Catherine Davis' daughter. He even was involved with Matt Fraser for a little while. As OG as they come.
Yeah, New England was I would say a core piece of that northeastern like CrossFit affiliate community.
Well, even ran their own competition.
That even from that regard, but like you think about the names that came out of that gym or developed under that gym to be even people like James Hobart and go to the level 1 side of things, right? Like the people that ended up on L1 staff, the people that helped drive change at the affiliate and education level from that gym. Ben was on advisory boards and councils and things like that before it was like they were like publicly known, but he was involved at that level with CrossFit, and he was a very influential figure behind the scenes, whether it was education and affiliates, and obviously had influence on the sports side of things too. But man, this is like maybe CrossFit New England and CompTrain and Ben don't quite have the same influence in the sport that they once did, but to say that they haven't had a huge place in getting things to the modern state that they are now would be a huge miss. Yeah. And it would ignore the impact that they have had, and it would be disingenuous. So the fact that they're leaving.
They were also one of the first CrossFit gyms that was actually a training camp and that considered themselves that way. That they were the leaders in that, along with, I would say, probably Invictus.
Well, how many people do you know hopped on CompTrain after Catherine won?
Yeah.
I was like, I got to try this.
I've done CompTrain. Yeah.
It's great programming. They were the first kind of to lean into that.
They were one of the first to do dedicated competition masters programming too. CompTrain Masters was one of their big things, and they were one of the first to do that as well. So, regardless of what their standing is now, they were at the forefront of the affiliate community from an early time. They were at the forefront at the early time in the sports side of things, and they have deeply tied roots to CrossFit at a multitude of levels. Yeah, hell, our friend Kevin Daigle is the one who built the pull-up rig there.
Oh, totally forgot to tell you this.
Oh, really?
Walking around Legoland last weekend with my son, my wife, because we took him there because he's turning 5 here next week, so we wanted to do like a birthday thing for him. Yeah. Anyway, so we're walking around, and I see this dude in a CrossFit shirt. I'm like, oh, that's an old school CrossFit shirt. It was Daigle and his wife and their kids. Ran into him randomly at Lake. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? It was great. It was cool to see him. But yeah, he like Daigle came up in that gym.
Yeah. And he was, I mean, he was, for people that don't know, behind the scenes, he ran a lot of the YouTube stuff during like the core growth years, and also like was a writer, and he had one of the first like early CrossFit blogs, Dago Breezed Fire.
That's
that was
right. I remember that.
Hilarious. His hour by hour, minute by minute live blog of everything he ate on like the Christmas holiday like weekend was must read.
That was great.
He would just like he live blog his descent into food madness and before like trying to get back on the wagon. It was great. But there's like tons of OG ties for sure.
So I just wanted to read this one passage. This is from the article. This is quoting from the article, not quoting Bergeron, but this is from the article. While Ben Bergeron has long been an advocate of the CrossFit methodology, his choice to step away was not about the workouts or the philosophy, but about leadership, accountability, and values. The handling of an athlete's death at the 2023 CrossFit Games became the final breaking point, highlighting what he saw as a failure of leadership and a misalignment of values. And again, that's a summary from the article. But I mean, like I said, nothing is shocking me right now, but I was surprised by this given how long they've been around, what they have stuck through. And it's not, I'm guessing that door is still open to come back in. I mean, I saw that at my affiliate, the one at NC Fit. Jason decided like, hey, this isn't aligning with what I want to do. And then when it did, he came back. Say about that what you will. But man, I was just really surprised by this.
Yeah. I mean, so often like the roots of CrossFit and as the affiliate community and even the structure of the affiliate like model not being a franchise, that like kind of like hands-off laissez-faire, we're going to give you like the freedom to do what you want. Like everyone talks about that aspect of it, but inherent in that is that like the freedom to do what you want also includes not staying the course with that brand if you so choose, right? Like that's the other side of it. And I mean, if you're truly like open source and open to, giving your, I guess, stakeholders or affiliates, whatever, the freedom to operate as they want, if they so choose that their values don't align with you anymore, then like more power to you. That's part of it too, and hopefully like if comes a time when accountability is sufficient in their eyes and they feel like it aligns again, they can't come back like Jason. That is what hopefully a balanced approach to that type of structure ultimately is. Not just saying you have the freedom to do what you want as long as you do it the way that we like, right? That's not real freedom.
Yeah.
That's just like,
we're hoping to get Ben on sometime soon, hopefully next week. Yeah. So we're efforting that. Lauren, anything you want to add before we move on to our next thing?
I just don't know that I was incredibly surprised just when you look at CompTrain and CFNE. That's correct. CFNE. Yeah, thank you. As a whole. In the past couple of years, we've even seen them kind of tailor their messaging and even their offerings away from high-level competitive athletes.
True.
And we don't see CrossFit Games athletes really coming out of there as often. It seems like they have shifted to this mindset of more community focused. So now that maybe that is their, main goal or North Star, it doesn't make sense for them to be a CrossFit affiliate if they're not training games athletes. And again, doesn't necessarily mean apples to apples, but I wasn't entirely surprised. I think I was actually more surprised that maybe more big affiliates haven't done this. And not to say that that's right or wrong. And when you factor in the games athletes that train at some of these, like, you think Invictus, Training Think Tank, etc. I know that that's all part of the equation, but yeah, I guess there wasn't a huge shock value to me for this one.
Well, the athlete, the professional athlete, I guess, thing makes sense because that's one of the incentives is to keep your affiliation. That if you're a gym that has a lot of athletes who are excited about going to the games or trying to go to the games, like you need to be an affiliate in order for them to do the open, online semifinals, all that stuff. So there is that incentive there. So I think that's a good point. Okay, moving on. Mention that we know the location of all three open announcements. Final open announcement, 25.3 is going to be in, where was it again? It's outside of Albany. Outside of Albany. Still working on that.
Glenwood?
Yeah.
Glenmont?
No,
Glenmont, New York.
Glenmont,
And we're going to get Sprague, Pepper, and Hopper going head to head.
Oh,
so that'll be fun to watch.
That will be
and I
fun.
like the fact, like they've done this before. Back in 2017 when the games moved to Madison, they held, I think, the final open announcement in Madison. So I like the fact that they're going to the new city.
Yeah.
The new area, just to build some hype there. 3 great athletes, 3 athletes who, at least 2 of them, are not afraid to talk a little trash. I think it'll be entertaining. It'll be fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to that. But we just wanted to get that out there in case people hadn't seen it. I'm sure you probably have.
CrossFit Spur is the name of the affiliate.
CrossFit Spur. Go and spur them on. If you so choose. All right. So the next thing, you mentioned affiliates. I didn't think we had to address Vellner because I forgot that I thought that happened. We've already talked about it because it happened so close to our last show. It's like the day after we recorded, he wound up saying that he's not going to do the CrossFit Games season. We have two male athletes, Games athletes from last year who said they're not doing it. Vellner, obviously the big one, and then Jelle Hosta following him. So now really the 3 men are Chandler Smith, Pat Vellner, Jelle Hosta, have all made pretty public statements that they're not gonna move on. I wasn't surprised about Pat at all, given some of the things that he said, afterwards, his involvement with the PFAA. Not shocked by that. And I'm not surprised again by a European athlete. Mm-hmm. And both of them have already signed with the World Fitness Project, so they have that to concentrate on. And I know some people brought up Rogue, and that Rogue uses the games results to sort of pick the field, but I know that they have also said that, well, given the fact that we have a changing landscape in the competitive world, we'll factor in other things when it comes to our competition. And at the end of the day, it's an invitation.
That's what Rogue said?
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, it's an invitation. They can pick whoever the hell they want. They'll.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anything that stands out about what those 2 said? I mean,
it's. Sorry, my allergies are just going absolutely nuts. But
you have one show a year that is like this.
I know. I'm glad I'm getting it out in February. It's a long year ahead of us, but. It's one thing, like, Vellner is an athlete that is very well aged in the sport, but Jelle is someone that's still like on the earlier half of his career. Mm-hmm. He just broke through the games 2 years ago. He should have been, did they? I guess they technically kind of did 2 rookies of the year, but he should have been traditionally the rookie of the year based on being the highest finishing rookie at 10th. He finished 15th last year, despite obviously all the obstacles and everything like that he experienced personally with his relationship with Lazar and his involvement as an athlete. But so to see someone that's still relatively new and still has a long runway ahead of them do that, I think is it's another added element to the equation. Mm-hmm. I think people will try to dismiss Pat based on the fact that he's an older athlete, but I think other younger athletes that seemingly have more time makes it a little bit more poignant for sure.
Yeah, and if you're watching this, I'm flipping through the post that Pat made. He goes, "I can't continue to pour my heart into an organization that doesn't seem to be working to support those of us who compete in it. Over the last several years, athletes have worked together and consistently voiced concerns and brought solutions regarding competition safety, fairness, and the overall direction of the sport, and our efforts have been largely dismissed by leadership." You can go to his post and read the rest, but I thought those are the 2 important things. And one thing I was thinking about here too is that you look at athletes like specifically Annie Thorisdottir and Pat Vellner, who have so much perspective on this and have been dealing with this issue for a long time. Now people say, well, if it's been an issue, then why do they keep competing? And I think it's because there was still that trust that nothing like this bad was ever going to go wrong.
Yeah. You're in a it's like to use an analogy, like you're in a different tax bracket now once this happens.
Correct.
It's not the same ball game anymore.
Yeah. So I think that's, whether you agree with that reasoning or not, I think that is the explanation that they would give. But you think about Annie went through, was it 2015 with Murph, or because that was the heat stroke issue. Cara Saunders had the same thing going on. So Annie's experienced it. There's just a perspective I think that those veteran athletes have that maybe some of the people who are newer to the sport don't.
And Pat has been a very vocal advocate behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
For athletes and on behalf of the athletes. And he has experienced a lot of that pushback and that bristliness, I guess, and resistance to change, as like he's experienced it as much as anyone, because he has also not been shy about trying to speak up when he feels like something is wrong, or he has perceived that, the athletes aren't being looked after or they're not being considered fairly.
Mm-hmm. What were you going to say, Lauren?
And that's the thing about some of these longtime athletes like Annie, like Pat. They've been in the game long enough to try to use other tools to speak up, to voice their concerns, to go down all of the routes that anybody new to the game would try to go down to have a different result. And it was just like, this is what broke the camel's back. The most unfortunate, unforeseeable event that could happen at the CrossFit Games is somebody died. So I think that them having those years of perspective and years of banging their head against the wall and raising concerns, that it doesn't surprise me that those are the athletes that we're seeing being so outspoken, whereas it surprises me more to see somebody like Jelle be so comfortable in his voice and so outspoken. And not that stating your claim on why you are or aren't doing the Open is something that should be this big hype controversial thing, but athletes are getting a ton of hate on the internet for what they decide. And I think that's why we haven't seen as many athletes publicly state whether they are in or out, because they don't want to deal with the backlash that is going to come inevitably on either side.
Well, and in fairness, they've been getting a lot of support too. Like it's,
absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
So it's the internet. What else is new?
But one thing, because we've been, this is, not to I guess pivot to something else here. And I've been trying to think about, where could the silver lining be for the CrossFit Games with losing big name athletes? And here's the thing I came up with. And one thing that I've thought has been a problem around the CrossFit Games for a while now, actually, is that as it has gotten more and more professionalized, sure, it's gotten more and more entertaining and there's more athletes to follow, and is that I felt like it's gotten removed from sort of the community aspect in the affiliate. And I know that a lot of these athletes have their L1s, they belong to affiliates. But what I mean by this is that way back in the day, like when things were really growing, 12, 13, 14 in there, the athletes that you saw wind up at the games were pretty well entrenched in the community aspect at their affiliates. They were taking classes. They were they were people you knew. They were just probably getting some extra training in on the side, but they were throwing down with everybody else around them. And it wasn't like, I go to this affiliate because they provide me with a space to train. I do all my own programming. I have a coach, and that kind of removed them from the day in and day out operations of an affiliate. So this kind of reset now, maybe it gets us back to that, a little bit more of that, because there are going to be, I know I'm being kind of Pollyannish here. I get that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I fully believe this, but in my attempt to try to find some sort of possible silver lining here, this is the one I've settled on, because there are going to be some new people competing that we probably haven't seen compete at a high level in the past, or maybe just kind of scratch the surface of semifinals. And does that maybe rally that kind of local affiliate interest a little bit more than we have seen in the past? And you have every right to tell me that I'm crazy and I'm way out of line here, but I felt like it was worth bringing up because I'm, again, in the interest of trying to see both sides of this.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I could say, well, maybe that's good for the long run, and that you sort of build interest again at the affiliate level.
Oh, Sean, how I love your youthful optimism.
I'm trying, man.
So in response to that, I would posit this. The people that step in next in line, so say 15 of the top games athletes, we'll say, 20 games athletes sit out the season. That means the next 20 athletes, so probably 2 per semifinal, on the leaderboard get to go to the games, and then maybe 2 more athletes that on the other side of that get to go to semifinals, quote unquote, assuming previous things. Were any of those people, those fill-in people, doing that, classes with maybe just a little bit on the side anyways to get to that point?
No, you're right about that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that nets out for me, because most of, even just like the fittest dude in your gym now is likely doing his own programming. And
yeah,
there are guys that do that on top of whatever the affiliate programming is, but those people usually aren't the ones going to semifinals. Maybe on the team side that could be the case, but I think that's by virtue of just how fit, how impressive the baseline level of fitness is at all levels of the sport. It's like that quote you used to say, Sean, all the time. Like, you don't know how good you have to be to suck at the CrossFit Games.
Tommy, you need to check your audio. We're getting a little interference on your mic, so you might want to check that for a second. It just sounds.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, well, if you're not hearing it, then maybe it's just me.
But yeah, like, and that's a credit to the sport for pushing it forward. But I think it's just one of those things where that day and age might have just sailed,
Yeah, and that's it. And again, I know I'm reaching, but I'm just trying to find, like, how could any of this possibly be?
I like that you're
benefit?
looking for the silver lining.
I'm trying to, because I miss those days. I miss those days where you would go to or you go to regionals, and it was everyone rocking their gym's apparel, and you still have some of that. You still get it, but I feel like it's been replaced by training camps, and you see like more mayhem stuff and HWPO as opposed to t-shirts from your local gym. And you still see them, but I just felt like it was more prevalent. It seemed more like your whole gym would show up to watch this one athlete. I'm guessing that still kind of happens, but it was like, it seemed like your favorite athlete was whoever came from your affiliate. But now it's like, well, my favorite athlete is this person and this person. And I've never met them before, and I don't know anything about them, but I just love watching them. But I also
think that that's like the growth of the sport. I think we've said it before, maybe Tommy has said this, when you go play a round of golf, are you going to run into Tiger Woods or Scott Stalling? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to run into any of the pros. So if we want to say that, CrossFit should be professional and these athletes should be treated like professional athletes, I think that training camps and individual programming is necessary. Would it be cool if they could do that inside an affiliate or throw down in an affiliate class? Absolutely. Who wouldn't love that? But I think that's getting a little greedy on what we actually want to see.
But I also think that ignores a part of the equation where, in season, they're maybe not doing that. But I know a lot of games athletes that in the off season, they'll just go hop in their affiliate class.
Mm-hmm. Which is super cool.
Yeah. Which I think is like still a tie to it. But I think the demands of the sport at the highest level extend beyond what affiliate programming is, which it's a different look at what fitness is, right? Like, it's the sport programming is to be fit at a singular moment in time, right? Like, for that snapshot, whereas affiliates are and should be pointed at a much longer term goal, which is way different.
Okay, well, I just want to bring that up. It's just a thought, in the interest of trying to see both sides and trying to be positive, but you have convinced me that is overly optimistic at best. Okay, so two other things we want to talk about today, and this goes with the I don't know if this person's in or out of the Open yet because I haven't checked the leaderboard, but is Tia Toomey a Hyrox athlete now? Because everything I see her posting, it's all about training for a Hyrox race.
Yeah, it certainly feels like that. I mean,
she's doing a lot of Hyrox training.
I mean, hang on. Let me just call up her Instagram here. So
she also just got signed with LSKD.
So this is like,
nice job.
This is her post. I think was today, pushing sleds, doing burpees, and broad jumps. So.
And debuting a nice little short haircut.
Hairdo. So I don't know. I mean,
whole new fit.
If anybody could do both, it would be Tia. But I mean, I'm sure
she does it all.
Like, I don't know. Would this surprise anybody that she was like,
peace?
I'm going to go do Hyrox.
Just went out into the sunset.
Well, honestly, like, what more does she have to prove? What more does she have to prove? She's won
she
everything.
Doesn't need to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, yeah, I've been there, done that. I want to try something new.
I honestly keep waiting for you to say the Randy Marsh, Flia. I don't know why. Every time you say that, well, what is she going to be like? And then I keep expecting to hear it from you.
What's the line?
There's like a sequence in South Park where he's like, Flia. And it's like a montage of him just saying goodbye to everybody.
I don't know why. I don't
says
know
it like
that
10
one.
times. Oh man. I don't know.
Send us the link.
But what do you think this, not that Hyrox needs a boost right now, because their growth has been incredible and the amount of people they get out to events, and more and more CrossFit athletes are going and trying it out. But for the sake of argument, if she goes over there, what do you think that does? I mean, I think it gets a lot more CrossFitters interested in it.
Yeah.
I think I know they stream events.
An athlete and a businesswoman, and I'm here for it.
I don't know, man. God bless you if that's the choice. And like I said, she has nothing else to prove.
I mean, how many CrossFitters will happily sign up for a Spartan race or a weekend adventure race, and with zero representation at the top level from athletes that feel like come from that CrossFit, like core CrossFit, like programming and training and stuff like that. And then now, if I know you're playing devil's advocate, so I'm kind of running with it. If this becomes a pursuit of hers, and Proven's already started a Hyrox like training like track, why not? It's another outlet for people to use their fitness. I can see that being a big boon for them.
Well, I think it gives and I don't know enough I don't follow Hyrox closely enough to know like the big players, the big stars. And I know that if you're really well entrenched in that community, you know their names, right? Like Hunter McIntyre is the only guy I really know off the top of my head. And that's because he's been
Jacoby, Lauren Weeks.
There you go. Okay.
Two of the heavy hitters on the women's side.
But doesn't this give you a very marketable star now, even though she hasn't proven herself in that? She hasn't won anything over there. But it does.
It brings different eyeballs. It brings a different fan base that might have not followed the sport as closely if they, if she didn't do it.
I mean,
because especially like 7-time CrossFit Games champion. Like I think of any sport, if you see somebody who is so dominant in that ecosystem join a different ecosystem, that's a storyline in itself. Is she going to thrive or is she not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a net positive for sure. I mean, like, granted, I know people might scoff at this, but like, Sean, look how much pro wrestling has benefited from that.
Yeah.
From having athletes and people who are successful in other avenues coming over and like ingraining themselves. I mean, look at Kurt Angle.
Well, it even worked in reverse. Look at the numbers that we got from the Open announcement where Seth Rollins was involved.
Yeah.
That cross-pollination does kind of pay off. And I don't know if this is going to happen or not. I've just noticed a lot, and I'm not the only one. Like, people are probably looking at me right now like, oh yeah, really? You just noticed this now, genius? But there has been, like, it just finally got to the point where I was like, is this actually going to be a thing? And, look, to me, if it is a thing, it means that I'd probably pay more attention to Hyrox. I think it's a great competition. I've said that before. I love what they're doing. The way that they get people involved, and it's easily accessible. And I hate running with a passion, and I'm kind of the point now, or even I'm like, maybe it would be fun.
I mean, isn't that what CrossFit do anyways? You're like, gosh, I hate burpees, but might need to redo that open workout again. Like, how many times have you been like, I hate this, but I'm going to do it again because I mean, also, by the way, we're a Hyrox podcast now. We forgot to tell everybody that.
There you go. No, I don't know. I think it'd be really cool for her. It'd be great for the Hyrox space. It would, in a way, it would suck for CrossFit because that's the end of an era, or at least on pause.
But it could also be a good thing too, right? Like if CrossFit's like, hey, that's our GOAT, and she's going over and she's applying that fitness that she like. If CrossFit does this right, they're like, hey,
GOAT can thrive other places.
Yeah. And she went, and it's like Michael Jordan going and playing baseball, where it's like, yeah, it's not the exact same thing, but clearly you're an athlete and clearly you're determined. And, like, granted, it was a way different scenario, and the circumstances behind that were a little suspect. And ultimately, Jordan, like, there's a lot of people that believe that, like, Jordan would have eventually worked his way up had he stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a little bit more of a transfer and carryover here. But
Mm-hmm.
if CrossFit's like, hey, this woman has dominated our sport and she went over and, built herself up to be an elite in another sport, like, it doesn't take away from that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like Tia going and competing and trying to make the bobsled team, or, competing in Olympic weightlifting at the Olympics only added to the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It only added to the legitimacy on all fronts of everyone being involved on both sports. Not that they necessarily need that, but it certainly helps.
Yeah.
So if CrossFit plays this right, it's certainly a good thing. Because she really doesn't have anything left to prove in as far as, like, CrossFit the sport is concerned.
Yeah. All right. I just want to bring that up, just make sure I wasn't crazy. And again, I know I'm probably a little late to the game on this one, but it just got to the point where I was like, is this actually going to be a thing? So I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. I haven't even checked to see.
You're not crazy. Confirmed.
Okay, thank you. I haven't even checked to see if she's registered for the Open yet. But in the list of athletes that I've seen who have, I haven't seen her name. And I would seem that would be one that you would probably lead with. So, I don't know. Okay, final thing that we want to talk about today is that there's been the smoke is starting to be more noticeable around talk about a sale of CrossFit. A lot of outlets have been talking about this, discussing it. I've tried to reach out to some people to figure out, what do you know? What do we know? What do we don't know? What's confirmed? What's not? So here's what I've learned talking to the people that I've been reaching out to, that, like, this is actually, this is a thing. Like, there is apparently a group made up of what I have been told are mostly foreign, so outside of the United States, investors who are interested in purchasing CrossFit. Now I've also been heard like it's not a done deal, right? There's still a lot of negotiating going on. And I've been told that by people I trust that there's no agreement on a sales price. That's the big sticking point here. So anything that's actually going to happen is going to be put off till after the Open. They're going to do the Open, and I think everyone's coming back to the table and trying to figure this thing out. But this is now, like, I've heard of offers of interested parties, I should say, in the past, and that didn't really work out. But this one, the more that I kind of dug into it, actually seems to have some legs. And some of the people involved are involved with CrossFit, either peripherally or from it. Some of the people that I think that this group wants involved are within CrossFit. And we were talking about this before, and Lauren, I think you brought up a really good question, and I don't know how to answer this. Is that I've always felt, at least I shouldn't say always, let's go back to 2020 when there was, is CrossFit going to be sold? And it felt like best case scenario, you needed someone from inside the community who knew what this was all about in order to kind of take over. And I made that statement when we were just talking about this offline, that I think it's a good thing that it's from inside the community, people who know the kind of the ethos and what this is all about. And then you asked the question, like, but is it? And I don't know if my stance on this is as firm as it was back in 2020. Like, would it be good to have an outside party come in here? I don't know if it is, but I'm a lot more willing to entertain that than I was probably 5 years ago.
I mean, over the last, I would say 3 to 5 years, CrossFit HQ has provided more tools and resources for affiliates. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an affiliate owner, but ones that I've spoken with said that has been a huge help. Mm-hmm. Between videos, between the layout of different documents, that here's how you start an affiliate, here are tools and resources, here's what you do, marketing plans, things like that. My fear, I would say, if we'll call them an outsider, were to buy CrossFit, is what are they going to do to that affiliate model? Is it going to be
Agreed.
this corporation feel where right now affiliates thrive because they are independent businesses that can use the resources and tools from CrossFit, but they can still do whatever makes most sense for their local business in whatever region, economy, etc. they're in.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Like, I think as long as the aspects of that affiliate structure stay the same, right? It's kind of like a, regain what was lost, keep what we found kind of scenario, in terms of like some of the improvements that you've seen in the resources provided to affiliate owners. Like to reiterate what she said, like we want to keep that in place, like that active engagement with affiliates and being able to provide value for them, and taking that mindset and that approach that has been much more prevalent in recent years, and continuing to push that ball forward.
Yeah.
Now, are there other areas of whether it's like leadership and accountability or changes to the sports side, or not being as divesting from internal media, things like that, like there are things that I'm sure that can be improved to make sure CrossFit the brand is stronger, and and even if you want to go so far as a sport, like CrossFit Games as a sports brand is stronger and has a stronger presence, then sure, yeah, then maybe that's going to ultimately change things for the better. Because realistically, like even despite new ownership from 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now, or it'll be 5. A lot of like the decision makers in like on the day to day like stayed the same, right? There's still a lot of carryover in terms of leadership.
Yeah.
So maybe new ownership doesn't not necessarily always mean the nuts and bolts are changing,
Yeah.
unless that's their approach. It's hard to say, right? Like because we don't know who's buying it.
What I'm being told is true, and this is all kind of speculation, but it's from people that I trust. Okay. I don't think there's going to be a gigantic shift in a lot of the what's the phrase I'm looking for? I don't think it's a case where it's going to be someone coming in from the outside and totally overhauling this thing. It'll be more of like minor course corrections or minor changes as opposed to gigantic ones. But yeah, and I am more like I still, this is such a unique thing, and I heard that a lot from people on the inside when the new owners took over, is that they don't know what they bought. They don't fully get this, and I think that caused a lot of sort of like fits and starts and sort of resets that right out of the gate. I think it is important to still have people involved that understand the ethos, understand the community, understand where this all came from, to kind of keep people on board. Because think about like what's already being said about private equity now and the way people feel about ownership and that kind of stuff right now. I think we kind of need to bring it back a little bit. Now, there'll still be investors, still be people involved, from what I'm being told. Like, there's going to be multiple parties. But I don't know if it'd be a private equity type thing. Maybe it is. That I don't know. But the whole point of this is to say that yes, like it is a real thing. Now where it goes, I don't know. But I've been told from people that I trust that something's happening. Mm-hmm. So, anything you want to add about that?
I mean, I'm really curious to see what it is.
No, me too. I'll never forget the first time 5 years ago when everything was happening with Greg, and I was like, there's no way he's going to sell. No way. And how shocked I was when we got that press release about that announcement about Eric Rosa. I was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
But now like it will be sold eventually. I don't think anybody is denying that, but it does seem like it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
What a crazy soap opera this life is, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but
Days of Our Lives CrossFit edition.
Yeah, we'll see. And like I said, I think there's good people who are that are continuing to dig into this, and they were nice enough to share some stuff with me, and I reached out to a couple people and kind of pick their brains a little bit, but it's a thing that is happening. Where it ends up, I don't know. Like I said, I know other outlets have been talking about it, and that kind of prompted me to say, I think I should probably see what I can find out about this. Okay. Any community support we have to get to?
I don't have any off the crack, at least.
None.
It's not that I've seen come
All right.
across my desk.
I haven't seen it either.
Okay. Well, listen, if you guys have anything, say this every week. You guys want us to get the word out on, please share it with us. Send it to our personal Instagram accounts. Send it to our Talking Elite Fitness Instagram account. Send all the details that you possibly can, because we like to make sure that we direct people to the right places to make sure that everyone is getting the help that they need. All right, let's close out PR's no reps. Who's got a no rep? I got a no rep. You want me to start?
Yeah, kick us off.
I've been sitting on this one for a while, and I just heard it I heard someone do it the other day, and I'm like, that's my no rep. My no rep are it's Americans, people who are born in the United States, who refer to soccer as football.
Ooh.
I hate that. Like, you're an American, it's soccer. Don't try to pretend you're something else. It's the same thing with Northern Californians who go to Southern California, and all of a sudden they start referring to all the interstates with the article "the" in front of them. So it's no longer 17, it's the 17 or the 5. No. They do that down there. You were born up here. You're Northern Californian. We don't do that here. Don't come back here and say it's
why do they put "the" in front of it?
It's the way that people talk about in LA. It's like the 405, the 10. Like, it's common down in Southern California.
The 10?
Northern California, people say I-5, I-10, I-80.
Yeah, that's correct.
17. That's it, but it's a pretty unique Southern California thing. And when
you East Coaster, you don't know about this.
Are their school systems not great? Like, I don't understand.
It's just the thing what they do.
Grammatical errors tough for me.
When people from NorCal do it, it's like, that's not who you are. So when Americans start referring to soccer as football, drives me nuts. So no rep on that.
SNL actually did a skit about it back in the day with like Fred Armisen and I want to say Kristen Wiig as like the Californians, and they were just SoCal, like blonde beach bums.
Yeah.
They kept referring to everything as the like 10, the 405,
keep that in your own locale. I get it. It works down there. Totally fine. That's how everybody talks. But don't come from our neck of the woods, go down there, and then come back and be like, oh yeah, you just hop on the 17. No. Hop on 17.
You said that like you were scolding your dog.
I know. That's how I feel about it, man. I'm pretty passionate about this. All right, Lauren, you got a no rep?
My no rep is actually going to be I think it was on Netflix doc that I just watched. So there is this dating website called Ashley Madison.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and there's
like a big scandal. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had a data leak back in 2015. So if you don't know what Ashley Madison is, I didn't know what it was. It's for people to cheat on their significant others. So like if you're married, that is the website for you. It's for cheaters to meet up with other cheaters is the whole premises. And the owner of the company basically says that, for a healthy marriage, you should cheat on your spouse. Yeah. So I'm just going to no rep the whole concept that this turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry, even after everybody's data was leaked and their personal information was out there to the public, and it still came back and is a successful business. I just can't wrap my head around that. So that's a big fat no rep.
I like that one.
That is a play stupid games, win stupid prizes type scenario.
Yeah, shouldn't shock anybody. I mean, human beings are, for the most part, pretty garbage. So the fact that turned into a multi-billion-dollar, a billion-dollar industry, or multi-million, even if it made money, shouldn't shock anybody. Tommy, no rep.
What a peak in value here from Sean this week on I'm going to play optimist here on a scenario for CrossFit 2.
I'm trying to be
mostly garbage,
balanced. I'm trying to bring,
people are mostly garbage.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
It's like, I like people. I don't like people. That's people
like
want to
great.
Yeah. Tommy, no rep.
No, it's funny. I'm gonna no rep my son's comedic timing. He always picks the worst or the funniest, but also the worst time to just have nuclear blowout.
When
we're going to see my parents today, and he's in the car seat, and I'm like keeping him occupied in the car seat in the back, and I hear it and I'm like, this would be a really bad time for that. And as soon as I pull him out,
There's never a good time for it.
No, but there's more advantageous times. We just gotten over to someone else's house. I reach around to grab him out of his car seat, and I can feel it on my hands.
No.
And I'm like, Mom, Dad, can we use your shower? Because we don't have any of our stuff here. I'm just gonna hop right in.
Just hold him in. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, he loves water and like the whole bath shower thing.
Perfect.
He's happy as a clam. But
all right.
Yeah, it's just
Well, PRs. You want to go back around? Tommy, you want to start, and we'll.
Yeah, I'll start. I'm going to PR Marston Sawyers and the Buttery Bros.
Yeah.
Their most recent episode.
That was nuts.
Their most
Did you
recent
know about
episode,
this?
I had no idea.
So I knew about it, but I didn't know about the procedure until after it happened. I actually called him while he was in the hospital and basically was like checking up on him. And I knew that he was potentially going to go have the procedure. And then like he like gets on the phone and he's talking. I'm like, why are you in a gown right now? And he goes, oh, I just had heart surgery. I'm like, what? Like I talk to him pretty much every week, and
oh my God,
yeah, it's just crazy. But the fact that they shared the story, they're very open about it. And it's a lot of people, like if you read the comment section, there are people that like that story resonates with who are in that process too. So seeing that and learning about the process, what goes on, seeing how someone recover from it and sharing that has certainly helped them. And even a few people that mentioned that they were struggling like mentally and emotionally with that process, to see some hope on the other side. That's, that's
good.
That's a huge benefit.
Absolutely. Lauren, PR.
That was a really good PR. My PR is to the Backstreet Boys because the band is getting back together and your girl has tickets July 12th in Las Vegas at the Sphere to go see BSB. I want it that way.
No, I don't want it that way. Thank you very much. I don't.
And guess what? I can confirm that CrossFit Games athlete Emily Rolfe is also trying to get tickets for that. So I know that my fans from the 90s, they're going to come out in storm at the Sphere to see Backstreet Boys.
Is Kyle going to be there? That's the question.
Honestly, I hope so. Like that.
I want to see Kyle at a Backstreet Boys concert.
He better be in a good t-shirt. In a good concert tee.
Dude, I will say like
Nick Carter.
a throwback Backstreet Boys like t-shirt would slap as like a vintage retro tee for sure. I will say, what is your favorite Backstreet Boys song?
Oh, I mean, I Want It That Way is so great. The Call, that one is really good. It's like
Sean's so
back all right.
right
that one's great. I mean, all of them.
Of all the things to
like
go to
my
Vegas
favorite
and
album.
see at the Sphere.
It's gonna be a life-changing day for me, Sean.
That's like going to an IMAX theater to watch Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's like, what?
Well, guess what? On that day, you better turn your phone on Do Not Disturb because the amount of selfie videos I am going to be sending you and Tommy.
Please don't.
I love it.
Please don't.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, God. All right.
So
well,
many,
hey, good on
so
you. I'm
many.
glad you found something that makes you happy. All right. I'll take joy in that.
Thank you.
That totally threw me off my PR game. I don't even know what I was going to PR now.
Oh, I did. I will say I had a killer dad joke today.
Ooh, tell us.
I think
all right, let's end on this.
I
will forego my PR time, and I yield the floor to Tommy Marquez for his dad joke.
So
you can't think straight after Backstreet Boys.
No.
So we've had this ongoing saga with replenishing the, Costco sells like chopped walnuts, and it's something like Tiff and I put in our like breakfast oatmeal every day, and we've just like always forgot. Every time we go to Costco, we forget. Every time we forget. And she goes and she's like, damn it, I forgot the walnuts again, I guess. So, and I just replied like immediately off the bat. So I guess they're walnuts.
The force is strong with this one. Wow.
Oh my God.
Thank you for redeeming the end of the show, Tommy Marquez. We went from Backstreet Boys. I thought we had hit rock bottom, and then bam, you bring us back with a great dad joke.
Oh
Well done.
God.
My dog is here.
If Tiff knew how to do an executive German suplex, I think she would have
Oh, that's amazing.
suplexed me
No,
through the
should have been a
door.
high five. All right. Well, we're going to end on that note. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our sponsor, Thirdzy. Thirdzy.com/TEF. You'll save 20%. Great people who make a fantastic product. Trying to track down Ben Bergeron for next week. Also got the start of the Open next week and the Arnold Strongman Classic going on next weekend as well. So I will be in Columbus. Looking forward to that. For Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, it's good. I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right,